Inside this package, we find a sturdy gray carrying case, and I will not say anything about the case since I got a pre-sale sample, and the actual devices that will be on sale will receive their own tailored cases. But in general, this is your normal hardshell carrying case for a portable console. Opening it up, we see the device from Peakdo. I have already reviewed several products from this brand. If you're not familiar, Peakdo has developed its own proprietary wireless HDMI transmission technology, but more on that later. Inside the case, we find the device itself, which resembles a horizontal portable gaming console with a 7-inch screen, along with a set of accessories, which are a screen protector, several cables. One is HDMI to what seems to be mini HDMI, a USB Type-C to USB Type-C, and a regular USB to USB-C. The wireless HDMI transmitter, the most important part, and also a SIM extraction tool. Also important note, throughout this video, you may see what seems to be scratches on the screen and other reflective surfaces. The scratches are actually on the transportation film, not on the screen itself. And the reason I am not removing the protective film is to actually make the screen less reflective, since it's very hard to capture it on camera. So if you see any scratches or bubbles, these actually come from the film that protects the device in transport, and apparently it's there for a reason. The device itself is very well built. The majority of the body is made of aluminum, while the back of the controller grips are plastic. The front of the grips is also metal, just like the rest of the device. This model is almost identical to a previous Peakdo device I reviewed, with one key difference. The older model had a detachable gamepad which could be removed and reattached. It used your standard Joy-Con rails, and theoretically you could use any Joy-Cons with that. Here, the joysticks are built in, but everything else remains more or less the same. On the top, we have several control buttons, a headphone jack, cooling system exhaust. This device does require active cooling and there is a fan inside, and 3 ports. A USB-C port, which is used exclusively for charging, so this is power delivery, a USB-C video input, which uses Alt-DP protocol, and a mini HDMI input. On the bottom of the device, there are 2 speakers, so this device can receive and play sound, another USB-C port, and what appears to be a recessed reset button, which actually requires that included SIM extractor tool to be pressed. It would be funny if that's actually a microphone, but I checked and there is indeed a button inside, and it is used to reset the controllers. On the back, in the aluminum body, there is a translucent plastic window that houses the wireless signal receiver. There is a similar window on the transmitter, which is also made of aluminum, and both of them make sense since metal body interferes with signal reception. The transmitter housing is also made of aluminum. It has some ribs on the body for better heat dissipation, since this device really gets a little bit hot while operational, but it doesn't get too hot. The temperatures stay just above 40 degrees Celsius. The built-in gamepad is neither great nor terrible. It's a standard controller. The buttons are comfortable but nothing special, and I am unsure if the joysticks or the triggers are actually Hall effect sensors, but they feel nice to use. The gamepad itself is a separate unit from the screen. It even has its own power button. The only thing they share is the case and the battery. It can be connected to the PC or any other device using either Bluetooth wirelessly, or you can use the USB-C port to connect it in a wired mode. In both cases, the controller is detected as either Xbox wireless controller when you connect it via Bluetooth, or Microsoft Xbox 360 controller in wired mode, which is great because Windows treats Xbox controllers as the default input standard. In terms of polling rate, I got under 100 Hz in Bluetooth mode, which is expected for a wireless controller. However, you can also connect the gamepad via USB-C for a wired experience, and when connected this way, the controller is recognized as Xbox 360 gamepad as well, and the polling rate jumps to around 125 Hz. The more, the better. And testing the sticks, at least in wired mode, made me suspect they might actually use Hall effect sensor after all. They have almost no dead zone, and show no jitter in tests. However, I couldn't find any official documentation confirming this, so this is just my opinion. The device has a Full HD SDR display with a 60Hz refresh rate. It works perfectly when connected via HDMI, and it also works perfectly when connected using USB-C. Interestingly, USB-C input is not just for PC and laptops. It also works with smartphones that support video output through USB. Theoretically, you can connect this device to your phone via USB-C, though I'm not sure why you'd want to. But the key feature here is wireless connectivity. After all, that is what this device is all about. By default, the wireless function is disabled, and you have to go to the on-screen menu and enable mmWave, which is Peakdo's proprietary wireless HDMI protocol. To use this feature, you need the included wireless HDMI transmitter. It plugs into an HDMI port and it is recognized as a standard monitor. It also needs to be powered via USB-C, and preferably from the same PC, so the adapter is detected as a USB device. The reason for this is the transmitter is also a receiver and it receives input from the touch screen on the device. So the screen is not just a screen, it is also a touch screen that supports touch input, which means that in Windows, for example, this device is recognized as a multi-touch input device. You can tap and swipe just like on a tablet. This touch functionality also works when the device is connected using USB-C. But can we connect this device wirelessly, not to a PC, but to a smartphone? Not using Miracast, but through Peakdo's proprietary protocol. Well, for that we will need a USB-C to HDMI adapter. I tried multiple adapters, one of them didn't work, but a Steam Deck dock, even though I don't own a Steam Deck, I use this dock for other portable x86 devices, and after some trial and error, I managed to get the wireless display to work with my phone. Funny enough, not only the video transmission works, the touch screen also works, so the touch input is transmitted wirelessly back to the phone. For PC or a gaming console, you are supposed to plug this device directly into the HDMI port and also supply USB Type-C power. But keep in mind that this transmitter requires line of sight to function properly. So it's not the best idea to pop it into the back of your computer, for example. And Peakdo even sells special cradles for better positioning. I improvised by using an HDMI extension cable to place the transmitter in a more optimal position under my monitor. And the main question, what is this device for? Well, obviously, wireless gaming on your PC or console. But how does it compare to other remote gaming solutions like Steam Link or PlayStation Portal? Not portable, but Portal. Well, the advantages come from the proprietary mmWave protocol developed by Peakdo. First of all, it's zero added latency. Unlike Steam Moonlight, for example, or PlayStation Portal, which first compress the image on the computer or console side, then transmit it over Wi-Fi, for example, then decompress the image on your portable device, all of that adds latency. Peakdo transmits uncompressed HDMI, that means less latency. Also, it doesn't require any software. The transmitter is treated as a standard HDMI device, meaning you don't need any additional drivers and you can pop it into any HDMI out. And also there is crisp image quality. Since the image is uncompressed, there are no artifacts. The disadvantages come from the same proprietary protocol. For example, if we take Wi-Fi, there are two current Wi-Fi standards. The older one, which is 2.4 GHz, and the newer one, which is 5 GHz. 5 GHz offers more speed, more bandwidth, and less latency. However, it has significantly less penetration power. That means it has difficulties going through walls and overcoming other obstacles. So in certain conditions, you're better off using the older 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi instead of the newer 5 GHz, since it has better range and the connection is more stable. Wireless HDMI transmission requires a lot of bandwidth, and that's why Peakdo uses not 2.4, not 5 GHz, but 60 GHz network. That allows less latency and much more throughput. However, it limits the penetration power to almost zero. You need to have direct line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver, and in certain cases, even when you put palm of your hand on this little window on the back of the device, the transmission stops. So your hand is enough to block the signal. While using Moonlight or PlayStation Portal, which relies on your existing Wi-Fi network, you can play all around your house and in certain cases even remotely through internet. So all of this limits the use case. If you live in a 2-story house, for example, and your gaming PC is upstairs in your bedroom, and you want to go down to the dining room and play on this Peakdo console, you cannot. You need a direct line of sight. So you have to manage your expectations here. The only feasible use case I can think of is you want to play in the same room your PC is in. However, instead of sitting in a chair in front of the PC, you want to go back into the room and sit on the couch. But you still maintain direct line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver. That's the only way this thing will work. So that means that this Peakdo device has an extremely niche use case. However, this is the only option available if you really need uncompressed, zero added latency HDMI transmission, which is almost completely lag-free. It's definitely not for everyone, but if this sounds like something you need, check out the link in the description to find out how you can get one.
I'm the god of YouTube!
Like, subscribe, jingle bells.